The spread of building collapse in Nigeria is becoming alarming and a source of concern to the government and other stakeholders across Nigeria. At least 62 buildings have collapsed across the Nigerian states in 2022, with Lagos State recording 20, representing 48.7% of the entire cases. This year, the FCT seems to take the lead, with the incident happening too early. This occurred despite various efforts being put together to rid the country of building collapse. According to the reports by the Building Collapse Prevention Guild, BCPG, some of the main reasons for building collapse include bad design, faulty construction, extraordinary loads, foundation failure and unexpected failure mode, natural disasters, soil liquefaction, lack of maintenance, use of substandard materials under design, greed on the part of developers, bad engineering, among others. Even though there are no official statistics of victims of building collapse for now, an average of 5 deaths are recorded per collapse, a development that constitutes a major clog in the wheel of efforts to reduce the nation's housing deficit. What are the ways out or possible solution to this menace? Our guest shall be providing answers to these questions shortly. I am your carrier, Clinton. Welcome to Nigeria Today. I am joined by Umar Shuaibu. He's a town planner and also a coordinator at Abuja Metropolitan Management Council, AMMC. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And also with me in the studio is Engineer Peter Osarodion Igbinijesu, President, Nigerian Institute of Structural Engineers, a division of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Good to have you with us.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'll start with you, Engineer Peter. You had the introduction there. We've had several building collapse, and recently we had one in Lagos, of course, yesterday. And it's been too many of them. And why do we have this reoccurring? We're almost at the danger of seeing it as a norm. So why do we have this reoccurring building collapse?
Thank you very much. Even in your intro, you have more or less captured the basic reasons behind this collapse. What we always say is that in the construction industry, there are 3 segments we should adhere to strictly: the design stage, the construction stage, and the usage. In the design stage, you have to take into consideration all your parameters. And it is here we always appeal that would-be developers should engage the services of experts. It is true that the industry is saturated in the sense that a lot of people are involved in construction. Even at that, if they don't follow the normal due process and carry out the necessary due diligence, we will continue to have this spate of building collapse. At the design stage, what are the things you should look out for? First of all, you carry out field investigations, which has to do because the overall aim is that the building is going to rest on a firm strata. And if your foundation is faulty, you don't carry out proper investigation, and you design with wrong parameters, with time, such a building will come down. Then, secondly, what are the load factors you take into considerations? These are very, very important. And it has to do with the 3rd stage, which I mentioned, the end use of such a structure. Do we adhere strictly to what that structure has been designed to support? If there are cases whereby along the line there's going to be changes in the usage of those structures, reason demands that you go back to your experts, go back to your professionals to carry out the necessary changes. Construction, you also mentioned it in your intro. There are a lot of things involved in construction, and this is where we have a lot of quacks practicing in that field. But above all, in all, we appeal. Let us appeal to ourselves that developers should engage the services of professionals. And as professionals, we appeal, please practice in your core area of competence. Whenever you go outside your core area of competence, you will be termed a quack. And it is not everybody that has the prerequisite knowledge and training to be able to carry out a very suitable design for a complex structure. Even for a simple story building, residential, no matter how small that structure is, if you don't have that knowledge, no matter the experience, you can say you have been building, you have supervised an area, but you are not trained to carry out such designs. I'm telling you, there are certain elements you will not have taken into consideration, and it comes with time, it will come down. Then at the usage of such structures, we have arbitrary abuses of changes. A structure may be designed for residential purposes. Somewhere along the line, maybe due to economic reasons, the owner will want to convert it to commercial purpose. Even though you have gotten approval from the relevant government authorities through town planning, but go back to the professionals, either the designers and whoever has done the construction. They will look at all the calculations they did and be able to advise if the additional loads that will be taken into consideration in that structure will be able to withstand, means bearing the load down to the foundation. And if they say, look, when we designed this structure for you as residential, this was the total load we computed, and this is the maximum load the foundation can withstand. Anything extra you put on it, you are putting pressure. And once there's enough pressure, of course, there will be resistance. And in that process, the building will come down. Then in construction, we always advise that if, as a developer, you don't want to engage the services of those who carry out the design for you, but you want to also use the services of others, but all the design parameters, all the drawings, architectural engineering that were used in the construction will be made available to you. And this is what we refer to at the tail end of the structure as built drawings. In other words, you are in possession of this structure was built as per the drawings which I have. And that will form the basis for any changes that can come up. And let us not be sentimental in this. No matter the pressure you get from clients or developers, let us be truthful to assess. Anything that is not possible is not possible. And that is the way we should go about it. So we have to take into consideration these three segments or stages of our built environment: design, construction, and usage.
Thank you very much, Engineer Peter. Now, Umar, the last time you were on this program, I know there was a building collapse in Abuja at Gwarinpa. And of course, you told us that there was an investigation, an ongoing investigation. And so we just want to know, because it's important we know that how far has this investigation been gone? Has there been anyone brought to book in that regard? Because a lot of things, you cited on that particular day that could be, the reason. So tell us, just briefly, update us on the situation of that.
Okay, thank you. The issue of building collapse is a serious matter. Serious matter in the sense that it involves lives and destruction of properties. However, whenever we finish the first stage, that is the salvation of the lives of people that are trapped, then we go to the investigation stage. Thank God, during that collapse, we are able to save lives. Though we lost 2, but we are able to save out 22. So that was the first challenge. That was the first activity that we got engaged whenever we have something like that. Then the second issue is, the next stage is investigation. The building collapse in Gwarinpa, Gwarinpa district is controlled by the FHA. But we give the land, we allocate the land. However, it is supposed to be controlled by the FCT administration. But being FHA, being a federal government institute also, we allow it We allow them to control the development there, knowing the fact that they also have the professionals to handle the matter. However, we have discovered that the way we do our due diligence, there are some sort of shortfall in how the FHA handle it. And this is what we are investigating. Who does what? Who didn't do that? Who didn't do this and that? Usually whenever we have such a situation, the expert that we bring the expert from all the stakeholders, the engineers, the town planners, the surveyors, the security agencies, the developer himself, the engineer supervising the development. So all of them, we bring them together, we inquire what is have done, and it takes a little bit of time, but this time around, we are so much fast. We are fast because of the questions like this. So many people are asking questions in our offices, what are we doing? But we cannot bring out a half-baked report. Our report has to be comprehensive. God willing, within the next 1 or 2 weeks, we are going to submit that report. And then whatever recommendation that we are going to, we have already suggested is going to come out. However, I will tell you some important issues. These are the involvement of the stakeholders in the building industry, that at times leads to all these ones. 5 major stakeholders. First of all, the supervising authority, that is the government. Secondly, the developer himself. Thirdly, the supervising engineer. Fourthly, the building materials. And then the last one is the end users. So the problem that we usually have is the developer will have his own intention. This is what I want to have developed in this land, on this land. And then he will instruct his supervising engineer. This is what I want developed. This is what I want to build for me. Whoever is supervising will go and seek for the approval. You will get the approval because we do all our due diligence during the building plan approval process. You have got an allocation. How did you get the allocation? Yes, it is officially allocated, valid allocation. And we will not allocate a land in an area that is not supposed to be meant for that development. And that's why we have the issue of land use. We go back, that is prior to the building approval. What area is so? This one is a commercial development. And we have to make sure that that land is going to be suitable for that type of development. And that is why whoever brought his plan for approval will look at the land use. Yes, it's to the land use. And they will look at the structural. We will look at the electrical engineering drawings. We will look at the structural. So thank God we have a structural engineer.
Sorry to cut you
short. We have all this one, and we will look how this will give the approval.
Okay. Now, was all this process, we have mentioned a lot of processes, did you go through them in that situation? I'm talking about the house.
Yes, we have gone through all
it,
ones.
all that.
All the building plans required to have been approved. We brought it, and then even the officers that have even vetted the plan for the approval, we all call them.
Okay.
The officers that supervise the project, we all call them.
Okay, yes. Thank you very much.
Even the engineer, the developer himself, the owner of the building, we invited them to.
This is where we are. I'm happy my colleague Tamplan Shaibu has brought this issue up, because in submitting your documents as a prerequisite in getting approval, who is the designer, who is going to supervise the construction, who are the developers and the rest. And this is where we always insist, because these are areas that are subject to abuse. Of course, a developer to skate through may engage the services of a current registered structural engineer for structural engineering drawings. And he gets those drawings vetted, and he carries the stamp and seal of current and NI-E, that is the Institution of Structural Engineers. He skates through. But when it comes to implementation, you just discover that there are abuses. The people who had submitted their documents to the approving authority, in this case now, if we talk of FCT, Development Control Office, and have secured that approval, may not necessarily be the same people that we engage in the construction and supervision. Okay.
Sorry to cut you short. That brings me to my next question.
Yes.
They've gone through all
those processes, yes.
Are there no regulators to monitor them?
That's what we are saying now, because you can see now the instances of the collapse we have had recently now. Because by law, you are supposed to display the names of all the professionals handling such a project on site, on what we call the project signboard. You discover that the one that happened in Banana Island, nothing like that. And you discover that a long time, you may not be able to trace who are these people. Because you just discover a lot of people carry that title, I'm a structural engineer, and this is where we now appeal. It doesn't take you time. Well, go to the website of these professional bodies. Is this person your member? Is this person is registered with you?
I'll have to cut it short, Engineer Peter. We'll take a break here to feel the pulse of the Nigerians on the recurring building collapse in the country, as put together by our correspondent, Thomas Ogbetere. Please stay.
The incessant building collapse in Nigeria. In my own opinion, those who are building houses should engage professionals rather than quacks.
Before you could have a building, you need to see the foundation first. The foundation needs to be deep. And if the foundation is not deep, the house will totally collapse.
Building is all about how you lay your foundation. If you lay it successfully and how you put it is going to lead you to your extent. You know, people now are rushing house, building is not something you rush. It's very risky if you rush anything that you are doing. So most of the buildings in Abuja here, I can see so many places like Jukwe. I saw like over 3 buildings that collapsed yesterday. And also my expectation is that maybe they are not building they are not putting what they are supposed to do there. The engineers are not doing it. They are just rushing the work.
Inexperienced engineers that we have around are some of the reasons why you see building collapse. The other day I heard about a very popular church in Lagos collapsed, and some other buildings like that collapsing, and this is not good. And another thing I think that has been causing this particular thing, I believe before any building is erected, like maybe a story building, there should be a survey to make sure that this particular ground or particular soil can carry the weight of this particular building. Don't just come and erect a 10-story building, a 5-story building in a waterlogged area without a proper foundation. Of course, you expect it to collapse over the years. It's not going to last at all. So it is one thing. There are certain things we need to put into consideration apart from the substandard material. Yeah, that is a very key point. A very key point. How can you use 10 wheelbarrows of sand for one bag of cement? It is not. I'm giving you a literal example of what is going on.
Welcome back. The program is Stay Nigeria Today. I'm still with my guest, Umar Shuaibu, Chamflana Coordinator with the Metropolitan Management Council, AMMC, and also Engineer Peter Osarodio Igbinijesu, President, Nigerian Institute of Structural Engineers, a division of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Now, Shuaibu, you had the respondents there. Some spoke from a layman's, idea, while some spoke as, like you rightly said, that one of them was an engineer professional. So tell us, they talked about an issue. They talked about quacks, having quacks, handle this. Who is a quack and who is a professional? Because Engineer Peter rightly mentioned that if you're not in your core area of competence, automatically you're a quack in that area. So tell us more.
You see, we have professional bodies in the country. We have these regulatory bodies. The engineers have the current, that is, those that are registered, that are supposed to practice the profession in Nigeria. They are registered. We, the town planners, have the TOPREC, Town Planners Council. There are the SURCON for the surveyors. We have, all the professionals have their own registration bodies. Anybody that is supposed to work in an area that is supposed to be the area for that his profession We have carbon also for the builders. If anybody is not working within his own area, whatever he's doing is quackery. Though we professionals, we relate with each other. Anytime that your work has somehow come and elapsed with another professional, we know ourselves, we call ourselves for advice. Advice on this one. This is some sort of an architectural matter. This is an engineering matter. Even in the engineers, there are structural engineers, there are electrical engineers, there are mechanical engineers, there are civil engineers. All of them are operating within their own areas. So if you have all this set up the way it is, we're not going to have problem. However, there are some of us that engage in areas that are not theirs. Yes, he is a surveyor. He cannot supervise a building because that is not his core area. Despite the fact that he may know things in whatever is there. So whenever you come on the issue of this type of multinational corporations, these buildings, multi-story buildings that are supposed to be handled by the rightful professionals, we engage this type of professional, and in that we eliminate quackery.
Okay. Now, Engineer Peter, are there enough punitive measures to check quacks? Because you see a situation where someone says, I'm an engineer, he's handling a project, a whole building. Just like he rightly said, we have different field of engineers. One person is handling the entire building, everything, he is doing everything. So are there enough punitive measures to check?
More than enough. And we have well-established laws in this country.
Is it been implemented?
It's the implementation that is a bit faulty. Because if we effectively implement what the law says, I'm sure we can reduce this menace. Because it appears people get away with what they do. And not only that, we have not really taken the necessary step to prosecute those who have been found wanting. Although many of the cases are subject to litigation, until they are disposed of, there's nothing. Like they rightly mentioned, the 7 professional bodies within the built environment have enough punitive measures within their professional and regulatory bodies. For us as engineers, which is current, we have. And anytime we find our members one thing, we discipline them. But in most cases, our records are there. All the collapses we have had, very rare that you see registered engineers involved. They are not in your books, they are not in your system. So we wonder, how do these people get jobs? How do they get involved in all these construction activities? And this one brings me to the fact that it has to do with relationship, who do you know, or your connections and the rest. And we are appealing. And this is what we are doing as professional bodies. It doesn't stop, it doesn't take you much time to carry out the necessary due diligence so that we can save human lives and also save your own money. Because your own developer, you are not there to just start throwing money away. You want to have good investment and have returns on your investment. But if you don't get it right from the word go, everything will just come to nothing. Let's do the normal process.
So what can be done to check building collapse?
You see, there is one important aspect which is good for us to discuss it here. Some of our professionals are not bold enough to tell their developers whenever they give them directives, this is what I want. A professional must be bold enough to tell the developer, yes, I have got an approval for a 3-story building. Sir, I cannot add another floor because the developer will have to add another floor. If our professionals are not bold enough to be telling the developers this is what should be done, we should have problems. So you see, we have situation also that whenever we have got the building of just this Guardian Park issue, the FHFA did their due diligence in accepting whatever, because all developments in FHA, as we have discovered, all the engineers, anybody that had developed, the engineer will sign an undertaking for the supervising that project. And they have done that. However, we have a challenge despite what they have done. So what we are now trying to tell all developers and all the services, the professionals, let them always be bold to be telling whoever has given them any directive the truth. Yes, this one can be done, this one cannot be done. Okay. Even if he's going to lose his job, so be it. Otherwise, it's better for you to lose your job than to lose lives during the construction.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's good to lose your job than to lose lives. That's it on Nigeria Today. But before we go, we'd like to appreciate our guests for their time and contributions. Umar Shuaibu, Town Planner, Coordinator, Abuja Metropolitan Management Council, AMNC. Thank you very much for your contributions.
You're welcome.
And also Engineer Peter Osarodion Igbinijesu, President, Nigerian Institute of Structural Engineers, a division of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Thank you very much for your
Thank you very much.
Thanks. And also our viewer, thank you for always keeping the date. Don't forget, Nigeria Today air weekdays at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can watch this and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Thank you for watching. I am Eukaria Clinton. Hope to see you tomorrow.